Hey guys, it's Jenna Hartley. Welcome to Writer Wednesdays, a weekly chat with my author friends. It's a chance to get to know some of your favorite authors, as well as hopefully discover some new ones. This week, I'm super excited because we have the lovely Jessica Ruben with us. She's an international best-selling author of the Vincent and Eve series, Warrior Undone, and Light My Fire. She writes steamy new adult romance with intelligent heroines, and alpha heroes. Welcome, Jessica.
Hi, thank you for having me. I'm really excited.
Absolutely. I'm so excited to have you here. Thank you for joining me. And I love that you're in your kitchen. I actually love cooking a lot, but maybe you don't.
I cook. I cook,
Yeah.
especially now I have to.
Yeah, I mean, I was cooking before, but now it's like insane. So we actually started a scrap garden, which has been kind of interesting. I don't know if you've heard of that or what it is.
No.
Yeah, so you basically take like the bottom scraps of like your lettuce, right? So like you cut off an inch or two of it and then you put it in water and like watch it grow. So I kind of started
Oh,
it for like fun experiment because I usually kill stuff and I have like quite a little garden. So if your kids need
yeah,
something to do, you should definitely try it.
it's a great idea.
Yeah. So we initially connected because of a mutual friend, Jade, the cutie bibliophile. So big shout out to Jade.
Hi. We both love you.
Yes, we totally love her. And she wants to know how your book is going, and she told me to give you a little nudge about it.
Okay, so um, my newest series is independent standalones, which means that they're all interconnected, but each one can be read on its own.
Mhm.
And it centers around the Albanian mafia and the different women who each of them loves. My first book in the series is Light My Fire, and that's also my latest release. Um, and it was a pretty wild book and an amazing journey for me to write just because I am not Albanian, but I feel like I am at this point, honestly. It definitely um, brought me there, which was fabulous. And now I'm on the second book in the series, and it's taking me all around the world, from India to New York City um, and Iran. So it's pretty exciting. It really is. I'm
That
loving
sounds
it.
like a lot of research and like virtual travel, which is totally perfect right now.
But my parents are from Iran, so um, that's a country obviously I know a lot about. And I traveled in my younger days to India, so I've always kind of had that space as, a big imaginary place for me. Um, so it's been pretty cool to just sort of hop around the world, and I hope that the readers enjoy that journey.
Oh, I think that sounds amazing. And I'm very intimidated by the idea of it, but just talking about it, I can hear your passion for it. And I mean, definitely, I think India for a lot of people is very like lush with imaginary places and things, whether it's like shows that you've watched or just an idea you have in your head.
Hi, honey.
Yeah. But I think that's really cool, a mafia book and everything. And the travel aspect will be a lot of fun too. It's funny because I'm sure Jade is wanting to give me a nudge about my next book as well, because I think, all of us have probably, in the current situation, perhaps fallen behind a little bit. I know for me, it was like I had a back surgery earlier this year, and then it's like I expected to keep writing, but the pain pills like totally knocked me flat. So I'm glad to be back at it. But yeah, I can't wait to read that. It sounds really amazing. So I guess in addition to being an author, you're also a lawyer, and I'm a lawyer as well, but I don't currently practice. So I'm curious, like how you apply your background to your books, whether it's like your intense ability to research. Obviously, sounds like a way that maybe you're someone who enjoys research, and so that's why your books are so detailed.
Um, I am someone who loves research. Um, it's definitely not easy to juggle my lawyer life, my mom life, and my writing life. But essentially, a couple of years ago, um, well, maybe I should go back even further than that. I mean, I have always loved to write all my life. I remember being a first grader and writing a story about a true story about my cousin who fell asleep on a raft in the ocean and wound up in the middle, yeah,
Oh my gosh.
of the ocean, fish all around, and being like, oh my God, where am I?
Wow.
It definitely affected me, obviously. And really just being in love with writing and telling stories and just having so much to say. My dad likes to joke. He would say, how can one little girl have this much to say? But my parents immigrated here from Iran, and they're very academic. And, they would always say, we didn't come to America for you to pursue some art. Like, you need to go to college and make something of yourself. So my dreams of writing, while always, within me, were kind of squashed. So I went to college. I went to Lehigh University, which was great, out in Pennsylvania. And I studied abroad. I lived in Paris for a year.
Mm-hmm.
And, of course, I journaled, and my writing passion was growing, but it obviously wasn't something that I could truly pursue in the way I wanted. After graduating, I was kind of like, well, what should I do? What should I do? And one thing led to another. I wound up in law school. I got the Cardozo School of Law. I got married. I had a baby. I passed the bar. And then, of course, I had to go work. I had to practice. But I really hated it. And I still really don't like it. I try to find the positives. Good at what I do, which is, feels good, and making money feels good, but it just wasn't, it wasn't me. And I'm also not a very adversarial person, which is one of the funniest parts. I'm a lawyer, but I don't like to fight. I'm always trying to figure out a way not to ever go to court. But one day I decided I'm an adult. I'm 30 at the time. And I need to follow my passion. One life. What is it the kids say? You only live once. You only live once.
Yeah.
And I'm going to write.
Right.
Solo, exactly. And I'm going to see where it leads me. So I literally wrote the Vincent and Eve series in one book. It was not 3. It was one enormous book. And then I decided, well, what am I supposed to do with this? Should I be quarrying? Should I this? Should I that? I went into the back of all of my favorite books. You see, this is where my lawyer life comes in. I go to the back and do acknowledgments, and I had a big spreadsheet. Who did everybody use? How did it work? And all of a sudden I said, it's so funny. What is this self-publishing? Who knew that all of my favorite books were actually self-published books? This was totally something I had no idea about. I was just inhaling books on my Kindle, traveling to and from work on the subway, reading, and I had absolutely no clue. I was not on Facebook following this stuff. I didn't know.
Yeah.
Well, I said, why would I go through the hassle of finding a publisher and having to do all of that when I can just follow my own dreams on my own?
Right.
And who even goes to Barnes & Noble anymore? Everything is on my Kindle. So I'm going to figure this out. I made this spreadsheet. I saw who people, and my editor, so-and-so, I love you. I wrote it down. Oh, my PR, my this, my that. And I compiled an amazing list team. I contacted these people. I figured out how it was going to work. And I brought this huge book to my first editor, Ellie McLove of Love and Books, who so many people that I loved had used. And she said, Jessica, this book needs to be split up into 3. And because I had never done this before and it was truly a passion, I was just like, okay, I could do that. And I literally reworked this huge, enormous book into 3 a 3-set series with cliffhangers at the end. And just, I was off. And then by luck, Angie of Angie's Dreamy Reads happened, through Autumn, Wordsmith Publicity. She said, Angie, you need to read this book. She's like, I'll read a chapter as a favor to you. And then a couple of days later, I remember my heart falling down into my stomach, Autumn telling me that Angie read it. She couldn't stop reading it. She finished it, and she's over the moon. Where's the next installment?
Oh,
I think that when, she sort of came on board, it was just like the wheel started spinning, and it was just the beginning of my dream coming true. So it's been an amazing, amazing, amazing time for me.
that is amazing. I can tell you I'm definitely a spreadsheet lover, though I would think like I always think, no, I'm not. My husband's the spreadsheet nerd, but I'm very detailed and organized like you, and I totally do that where I'm like combing the acknowledgments for keys. And it's a great tip because it's like, well, if you've read it and you respect how it was edited, or if you have heard a lot about this book or you love the cover, I mean, it's a great source of information. So definitely a tip out there for aspiring authors as well. So let's see, you also live in New York, and I have to ask, I've been there, but it's been a long time. Like, I don't even know how long. I don't want to think about it. I think I was in high school or maybe college. And I loved it. And my parents and I went one year, like at Christmas, and the window displays, it was so magical. So I have to ask, like, what, as a New Yorker, is on your list of like must-see attractions?
Okay, that's a great question. Well, I live in Manhattan proper. I'm on the Upper East Side here. I work across from the Empire State Building, which is both scary and cool. I don't know. Must-see attractions, I would honestly say, of course, you have to see a Broadway show because they're really superb. Even as a New Yorker, I try to go a handful of times a year to see shows. They're just always amazing, and they just keep getting better. So definitely go see a show. There are some amazing restaurants. The parks are phenomenal. I jog in Central Park almost every day, so that's something special. Honestly, a couple of years ago, I took one of those bus tours, like the double tours,
Yeah.
and I loved it. Like, how amazing. So definitely go on one of those tours because you really get to see the architecture of Manhattan, and you see all the special spots.
Yeah, I think sometimes when you live somewhere, like I've lived in Dallas most of my life, but a lot of times my husband and I will try and act like we're like tourists. So we'll try and like sign up or do things like we don't have double decker bus tours, but like something that maybe we wouldn't ordinarily do. And we find that it's really fun to like, discover something new about our city. So
like my husband and I, we have 3 children. So sometimes when we just need a getaway, but we can't really make it even a weekend, we have like one night, we will like do a staycation. So like we'll go downtown to Soho, we'll stay in like a, cool hip hotel, we'll have dinner, we'll go to a nightclub. I mean, I have a party crazy side, and sometimes that's an itch I need to scratch. So if you come to Manhattan and you want to have like a night out,
you're the girl. So funny. It's really funny. So I guess, are any of the scenes in your books inspired by real places in New York?
Definitely. I mean, New York is definitely woven into everything that I write because, the city has a beat. It has a soul. It's wild. It's terrifying. It's awful, but it's so amazing. Like, I have been that person, trying to hail a cab before Ubers, and it's pouring and you can't get one. And you're like, why do I live here? I'm moving to Miami, which like everyone in New York is always complaining, I should be in Miami. What am I doing here? This is awful. The weather is awful.
That's funny to me that like Miami is like consistently a New Yorker place, like an idea of
What it is.
It's really interesting.
New Yorkers have a thing for Miami. Because it's close that like you can go back and forth. Like I love California, but it's really far actually, and there's like a time change. But like my family's here in New York, so like if I want to get away but still be in the USA, it's like a really easy flight. The weather's unbelievable. The restaurants are great. So like I don't know, it's definitely the spot that people run to.
Interesting. Yeah, I never think about like, well, New York, I mean, me to California is a flight, but it's not a flight like yours. Yeah, that's quite a distance. So it's definitely a different thing to consider.
But, New York is just so much a part of, like, it's so much in my psyche. It's so much a part of who I am now that it always finds its way.
That's really fun. Yeah, I'd like to visit again someday when it's not
You do.
our current situation. But yeah, I love Broadway and the shows and stuff, so it'd be really fun. So speaking of Broadway, I have a game for us called Two Lies and a Truth. Are you up for it?
I'm up for it.
Okay, so I'll read three statements, and two of them are lies and one is true, and you have to guess which one is true.
Great.
Okay, so we'll start with one that's kind of musically. Alexander Hamilton.
One is true?
Yes, only one is true. So guess the true one. Okay, option one. Alexander Hamilton and his son were both killed in duels. Option two. Alexander Hamilton lied about his age to postpone military service. Or three, the song Wait for It in Hamilton, the musical, was written on a plane.
Very interesting. Now, I recently read a book with my older son about Alexander Hamilton. And would you believe that none of these
made it in there? They weren't facts?
I'm trying to think, was he killed in a duel? I'm going to go with that one. I'm going to say he and his son were killed in a duel.
That's right. Yep. I don't know if you've seen the musical, but it is amazing. I guess, well,
I've heard.
Yeah, I was a history major in undergrad. And so I like rap, but not as much as I thought. Like, I guess I didn't realize how much rap there was going to be in the musical. And I mean, I like more kind of ballady, like songs that are just beautiful and slow, but just sitting there, like listening to the lyrics, you're like totally geeking out because it's like so amazing, like how they get the flow, how much they cram in there, like information wise. And it's really a great musical. Okay, we'll only do like 3 of these so we don't torture you and everybody else. Okay, question number 2. Option 1, 60% of the human brain is water. Number 2, the bodies of newborn babies are over 75% water. Or number 3, water covers over 78% of the planet.
My God, you're really testing me here. I thought we were going to have like Taylor Swift questions, but here we are.
I think maybe I should have given you alcohol virtually.
I'm trying to think. I would say maybe the globe.
I would think that one too, and I know it's a high percentage, but it was actually the bodies of newborn babies are over 75% water, which kind of grosses me out. I don't know, like what are they, water?
I am surprised, but then again, I'm fine.
Wish it was easier to have a baby if that were the case, because if they're mostly water.
Wow. I guess that makes sense though, because a lot of they're not yet developed.
Yeah, I mean,
water until those things come through.
Yeah, I mean, I remember hearing once that like their kneecaps aren't fully formed until like, I don't know, it was some like the age of 2 or like 7. I totally can't remember, but it was interesting. And that was part of the reason that they're able to crawl on so many surfaces. Sure. So it's like, okay, I mean, it's super amazing, right?
Think about how many babies are dropped and nothing happens to them. Maybe that's also
why they're made of water. Oh my goodness. Okay, so your last question, would you rather do one about Twilight or Harry
Potter? Twilight?
Okay. Option 1, there are 6 books in the Twilight saga. Option 2, Kristen Stewart, dated Robert Pattinson and Taylor Lautner. Number 3, Twilight is the time when vampires are most at risk.
Okay, I know the second one is false because she didn't date both of them. She just dated Rob Pattinson. So there we go. Us weekly knowledge. Twilight is when they're most at risk.
It was actually there are 6 books in the Twilight saga. Maybe they were going on the fact that like vampires aren't real. I don't know.
I think I'm like, when is Twilight? Is that right before? That's right before the sun sets.
Yeah, I think so. Like dusk, twilight.
So there you go. So it can't be that because in the night is when they roam. So they wouldn't be more nervous.
That's right. Or wait, is Twilight when it's like darkest right before the sun rises? Or what is that?
No. I'm almost sure Twilight is right as the sun sets.
I think you're right. I'm gonna have to Google this later. I'm like, oh, it's a good thing my kid's not in school yet because I have a lot to learn.
And then I'm homeschooling. I have to teach division right now. It's crazy. I'm like 1 + 2 + 1. Let me get on the calculator. Like it's crazy. I don't know.
I do not envy you that. I am not a math person. So if we were homeschooling right now, my husband would be stuck on math and I would be doing like history and English. So
Yeah.
so let's see, I have to say your skin is beautiful, and Jade also wanted me to ask you about that. So what is your skincare routine, if you don't mind sharing?
You know what? I use a lot of oils. I use argan oil on
Mm-hmm.
my skin twice a day, every morning after I wash my face and every night before bed. So I'm very big on that. And it doesn't make you oily. Like it sinks in, and it sinks in better than I think a cream does for me. I also make sure to moisturize before I put on my makeup. And I have good products, I think. Like my foundation is Giorgio Armani, and I get a million compliments. And it's a good foundation. So
Yeah, it looks beautiful from here. I would say like I'm big on coconut oil, so I use it like to take off my makeup at night and then kind of provide a moisture layer. But yeah, I've used argan, I guess, in my hair, which
yeah,
is very thick and dry. So yeah.
yeah. No, the oils are amazing. I'm a big fan. And also like I use a lot of SPF. I try not to suntan. Like when all
Mhm.
my friends are like, oh, the sun, I'm like in a hat and a sunglasses and keeping my face. My grandma, um, when she was alive, or rather while she was, towards the end of her life, like the last couple of weeks, um, she never even had a wrinkle on her face. She was like 90. And I remember traveling with her, I swear, and she would never go outside. She would hang out in the hotel lobbies, enjoying people come and go, because she was so panicked that the sun would ruin her skin.
Wow.
So I can tell you that the sun really does ruin your skin. And if you, she'd be like, I love traveling. And I'd be like, but you never leave the hotel lobby. She would just people watch and eat and relax and, enjoy the vibe without any sun. I know that's crazy, but the result was wrinkle-free skin.
Maybe she was a vampire.
Maybe she was.
Ageless, afraid of the sun. Just kidding. She sounds amazing. Well, let's see. We also have a giveaway today. So what are we giving away? Or what are you giving away? I'm sorry.
I'm going to give away a signed copy of this beautiful paperback, Light My Fire. So I mentioned it in the beginning. It is part 1 of my Sex Rock Mafia series, and it centers around the Albanian mafia, strong, intelligent, dominant men, and the beautiful, beautiful women who love them. So my second book should be coming fall 2020. I'm praying. I'm really, really doing my best to write. The idea is there. The vibes are there. The story is there. It's just a matter of finding the time in this mania to get it down. But it is happening. Sorry. But it is happening and it is on. And this is the first book in the series. So for anyone who wants to read it, if you have read it,
Gorgeous.
and it's also free on Kindle Unlimited if you're interested.
Awesome. Yeah, I recently read your Warrior Undone, which I was telling you before we started, and it was amazing. So I highly recommend checking Light My Fire, and I totally want that cover. So to enter to win the signed paperback, all you have to do is comment on this post and follow both Jessica and me, and basically comment and say like how awesome she is, you love her skincare, maybe you enjoyed our interview or have a question to ask. And I really, really appreciate you joining me today. It's been so lovely, like, actually getting to know you.
It really has. I really appreciate this and your time. And it's been a crazy world. And I'm just happy that we got to, see each other. It's awesome.
Yeah, to connect. It's really fun. So before we go, I have to ask what 3 things you're grateful for today. For those who have read my book, Unexpected, it's kind of a nanny single parent romance, but it's a male nanny. And every night he asks the little girl that he watches what she's grateful for. And so I thought it would be fun to ask all the authors what they're grateful for.
I love that. I'm grateful for my family. I really am. my children and my husband. I'm very blessed. It's been crazy, but I thank God for them. I'm grateful for my health and my family's health. And honestly, I'm grateful to live in this country. I really am. It's such a crazy time globally. And I mean, I do love Europe. I'm not going to pretend like I don't know. I'm obsessed. I would love to have an apartment in Paris and to live there for half my time. Ruben, sorry. That's where I got my name from. Now you guys know. And but I still, okay, that. Sorry.
Too cute. It's okay. I've had other kids invade the interviews. So.
Okay, so as much as I love traveling around the world, I love my country so much. I love America. I'm so proud to live here, and I'm grateful for it.
That's awesome. What a great answer. Well, it's a pleasure meeting you, and thanks to everyone for watching. Be sure to enter the giveaway by following both of us on Instagram and commenting on this video. You can find the links to all her books, which are available on Kindle Unlimited, in the links to her bio on Instagram. And I guess until next week, this is Jenna Hartney. Cheers to love, laughter, and happily ever afters.